soul of Robert Gogol. As we have before us one of the greatest miracles of our Lord, second only perhaps to his ascension, his actually resurrection from the dead, his raising of Lazarus from the dead. Technically, it's called resuscitation because Lazarus would die again, like the son of the widow of Naim and the daughter of Jairus, the three people our Lord raised from the dead. But in this case, it's even more striking, isn't it? He's 4 days in the tomb. He's dead. And his body is actually decaying. And our Lord, it's such a beautiful interaction with Lazarus' sisters, Martha and Mary, how he's bringing Martha particularly to a deeper faith, right? To where she's going to say, I believe you're Christ. I believe that my brother's going to rise from the dead, and as our Lord had taught. But there she comes to a different point. She says, I believe you are the Christ. And she kind of asks him to do this miracle, doesn't she? If you look at the language there. And so we see that our Lord, he's bringing to a deeper faith, like he does the woman in the well, so many different individuals, the apostles. We also see his humanity, that he weeps. Sometimes people forget this. They point the finger at God. He doesn't know what it's like to suffer. He doesn't know what it's like to suffer. Yes, he does. Actually, he knows what it's like to lose a loved one, too. We can only imagine what his feelings were, his emotions at the death of Joseph, if this is what he's doing at the death of Lazarus. So we see that our Lord, he raises Lazarus from the dead, and the Pharisees, they want to kill Lazarus. Okay? It shows just their complete illogic, because you're going to kill the guy, because our Lord just raised him from the dead. Do you not think he can raise him from the dead again? I mean, this is just the illogic. They're so proud and arrogant. They're blinded. But ultimately, what does this point to for you and me? Well, it points to the final resurrection. One of our tenets of our faith that we say in every Sunday in the Nicene Creed. I believe in the resurrection of the dead. Right? Where each one of us, even though our bodies decay and remember thou dust, unto dust thou shalt return. We started, Lent with Ash Wednesday. Our Lord raises us, same body, united to the same soul. Okay? And our Lord himself says in John chapter 5, is either to life or to death, based on how we die, okay, or the state of our soul. Okay? If we have our Lord's life within us, we need to be purified, yes, purgatory, then heaven. If we don't have our Lord's life in our souls, that's what we say, a mortal sin. Some serious, I knew it, I freely choose to do it, and I wasn't sorry for it. If I die in that state, okay, I've chosen forever in that state, which is just tragedy. So our Lord, he speaks of this. Right? Now, he's going to prove at his resurrection, right? He is God, so we can trust everything he says, and that there is a final resurrection. Now, there are some people who live as if there isn't, and they're pretty, when they're going to their death, oftentimes they're pretty scared. Why? Well, they don't know really what's coming. And if you live your life as if there is no heaven or hell, but you're wrong, and there is, that's going to be a problem. Right? And actually, if you live your life as if there is a heaven or hell, okay, well then we're prepared to meet our Lord. Right? So it's, again, when we say, I believe in the resurrection of the dead, it's at the end of time, our same soul is being reunited with the same body. And then our Lord's judgment, the final judgment, right? Heaven or hell at the end. So it's our Lord, again, here is kind of a precursor to that, okay? Raising Lazarus from the dead, precursor to what he's going to do, but then also what he promises for you and me. So this life isn't the be-all and end-all. I'm living for another life, okay? As much as the messages around us, the world, so many messages in the world say, leave God out of it. Well, if you leave God out of it, then what is your definition of good? Why should I do anything of what you tell me to do? Because you have the power? I guess so. I guess that's what it becomes. It's just the one who has the power decides what's going to be good for everybody. Because once you take God out of the picture, you have nothing to compare. What is goodness? What's holiness? What's virtue? It's up for everyone. All right? So it's actually really essential to us. Okay? our Lord's teachings and the fact that he did rise from the dead. He is God. Everything he taught is true, including the resurrection from the dead. Now, a year ago yesterday, Pope Francis, switching gears a little bit, Pope Francis actually invited the whole world to make a consecration of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. He did so with the mindset of the war in Ukraine, but also we can see the effects when we get Blessed Mother involved. Okay? This is how our Lord chooses to work. He chose to come into this world through his mother. He still chooses to work through his mother. Those who don't go through Mary to our Lord are really missing out. So well, I can go directly to our Lord. Is that how he came to you? No. He came through Our Lady. That's how great she is. He chose her to be his mother. Okay? I try to love her as much as he does. I'm a Christian. I try to follow him in all his example in everything, including loving his mother. Will I ever be able to do it as well as he does? No, but I'm going to try. Right? That's his example. That's what he expects out of all of us, every Christian. But what happened as a result of that consecration last year? A number of things we can't see because it's all in God's plan, how he uses it. But in our country, June 24th last year, Roe v. Wade being overturned, peace in the womb, an opportunity, a greater opportunity. Actually, I'm told in the state of Texas, since that happened, compared to the previous years, 10,000 more babies on average living. Okay? Yeah. So it's like to believe perhaps had some effect. Well, our Lord will tell us that one day. He will. But he does choose to work through his mother. I mean, this past week we had one of the feast days, Our Lady of Victory, but there are 9 different feast days of Our Lady of Victory. Actually, military battles where Mary was invoked and the Christians were miraculously victorious. That could be the Battle of Lepanto, Our Lady of the Rosary, 1571, October the 7th, with the Muslim Turks. It could be 1683, Muslim Turks again, Siege of Vienna, miraculous victory for the Christians. 1716, okay, Hungary, and Muslim Turks again. Right? So there are 9 of them actually, where Blessed Mother, the Christians asked her for her protection and intercession. Okay? Why don't we do the same? It's an incredible lesson for you and me as Catholics. She's there. She's just waiting. She is the Queen of heaven and earth. Right? So it could be the Rosary, Angelus, 3 times a day, 6, 12, and 6. But Pope Francis asked us to actually renew our consecration to her. So I kind of dropped the ball on that this week. So just encourage all of you. You can easily find Consecration of Blessed Mother. Just Google it, boom, there it is, or go on EWTN.com. But it's just a great opportunity for us to unite ourselves with the successor of Peter. That's his role. He has this authority as the head of the church. Okay, that goes back all the way back to our Lord, right? Through the apostles, through the popes, through Peter. So if you have an opportunity to do that today, it'd be well worth our while. And may my God bless you through the Immaculate Heart of Mary.